One sec. Hola Madridistas. Another frustrating night, but another frustrating night with a positive outcome. Trips to Getafe are never fun. They test your mental fortitude to sit through and watch MMA instead of quality football. But it is what it is. First clean sheet of the season. It should have been realistically a statement victory, but we take it and we move.
Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Thank you for listening, watching, subscribing, following along wherever you are on the planet. We will soon be the number one fan podcast in the world. So if you're new here, let me reiterate, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave us a rating on whatever listening app you're using. And yeah, welcome back, and we'll dive deep into a whole analysis today, what went right, what went wrong, before we get into any of the meaty, well, I say meaty, but it's quite lean subject, quite lean pickings today. Before we get into any of that, let me welcome today's amazing panel. We're joined as always by Sunaid, by Farooq, and Javier, our esteemed panel. How are you all doing, boys? You good?
Pretty good. Can't complain, can't complain.
Yeah.
Especially after that roughing up.
Sure.
Touching.
Yeah, we were
The wrong
touched
way.
like we were never before, and that's yeah, it's not a good start. But the panel
Yeah.
looks to be in a good mood,
This
which
was
which should
a
be
much needed.
which should be indicative of a good episode. I'll let Sunaid lead you on to
Sure.
all of the subject, and yes, Sunaid, take it away.
Like you said, man, like this is indicative of a good episode because this was a much needed lifting of spirits. Osasuna was mad how we had literally no hope of scoring a goal. For large parts tonight, I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but for large parts, it pretty much resembled how we kind of played against Osasuna. Lacking ideas, kind of running out of things to link up with. I honestly can't answer this myself because I've always wondered why we hit this roadblocks against lower La Liga opposition when we clearly know even before we get to the match day, when we look at the calendar and see Getafe away, we know how they're going to set up, how they're basically going to be parking an entire bus inside their own half, even if they're losing. It is see that's what makes me wonder. Probably the old school rules of football should be completely torn apart and reworked because in what world does it make sense trailing by a goal but still parking the bus? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You know for a fact that if you're going to sit deep, Real Madrid is going to keep coming on to you until you make a mistake or they eventually find a goal, right? But these teams take so much pride in basically parking the bus even while they are losing. It's nonsensical to me. Farooq, can you enlighten me why they would go to such extents?
think maybe you came to the wrong person, my man. But then I will try to enlighten you a bit as much as I can. So the thing is this: I would say this. This is the first goal we've scored. At the Colosseum Alfonso Perez in 3 years. Like 3 seasons. This is the first goal we scored. In La Liga in this game.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, to be honest, you ask, how can't we break these teams down? My answer to you will be like, these guys are playing a 5-3-2, right? And I would assume that, okay, a 5-3-2, like, okay, you have an attacking midfielder, a winger come midfielder in there. No, they have five defenders, three defensive midfielders. Okay? I mean, that's like literally just having 8-man wall, eight defenders and two attackers. Just throw what you can throw to
I
Unal
mean,
or
I mean,
Manuel.
a midfielder among their midfield trio was Carlos Herrera, and he is not a defensive midfielder by trade. Like even he is kind of forced to do a role which he has no intention of doing. But yeah, man, go on, go on.
Yeah, so actually, to your question about, how would you sit back and, do this? Because the point is, to be honest, like still being one goal down, like I'd never, it was, it never seemed like, Real were running away with this at any point. Like, Getafe still fancied that, okay, like we just need, that one cross, we just need that one set piece, we just need that one header. And
Yeah.
to be honest, like if you guys could recall, like there was a chance for Moira, although he was offside, but like they just need that one moment, just that one cross, one touch, and it would have been a goal, and the game is all back to square zero as well again. So I think that's the thing. Like, although I know like we've seen teams who will see like 2-3 goals down and they still do their thing, but I think like the affair with Getafe has always been a low scoring one because I think only once in the last 5 games have they been more than 2 goals in the game. So I think it's always been a very low scoring game. And Getafe actually like felt like yeah we could just hold down the fort and the crowd to be honest were really like it was a really really audible crowd as well. Getafe's fans were really loud and
They
because
were
it was
celebrating corners, remember?
yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Like, so I feel like that hope, of being that okay, like just one cross, one shot, one chance, we could still get back in the game. Maybe that allows them, to just okay, like we need to just maintain this one goal deficit and not make
Mm.
it more than one, so we can crawl ourselves back into the game. At least that's the only thing I can I can say.
There's also a
That,
difference to how both teams approached it. I mean, Real Madrid desperately wanted to win it. Getafe were
Yeah.
happy even with a draw, and that's why they were celebrating each corner. The fans were up in the stands, up in arms for each corner, for each set piece, for each cross coming in. They just wanted it to be 1-1, and that's a good result for them. For us, it's, as you know, the expectations are completely different, and yeah, I think that's
but you should also the take into account that when you're sitting so deep and kind of inviting pressure, more often than not, you're going to crumble and concede. And Javier, if you crumble and concede, that is basically game over, right?
No, I'm still with Farouk and Jadud. You have to understand, Getafe's league is not the same as Real Madrid league.
Yeah.
Getafe goes from relegation to relegation every single season. So a tie against Real Madrid in their house is a good result for them. But they're going to play for a tie. So the opposite, us, needs to play for another kind of game. If, like Farouk said, they are defended with 8. Maybe we should attack with 9. Is this a boring game? I'm glad that I'm not in Europe because it's not I don't know 12 p.m. because I will be dead asleep because the team that needs to propose the game it's Real Madrid, not Getafe. Getafe is never gonna propose the game against us. Maybe against Rayo, maybe against Almeria, Cadiz. Those kind of relegation matches they need to win in order
Mm.
to stay in La Liga. But Real Madrid needs to understand that, and it seems like in I don't know what 120 years we still like oh the opposite side is defending like crazy. Yeah, that's their game. Because if you ask how much does it Karim gains at 1 week, maybe it's the whole squad of Getafe for a year. So
I mean,
that's the reason.
I get the territorial differences in Getafe and Real Madrid. Like we are neighboring clubs. We have Um, we have it's a Madrid-based like rivalry. I totally understand the contrasting realities of both sides, but it still is so fucking torturing for the neutral to actually sit through this kind of football. But
I
I
think
completely agree with you guys. I just wanted to put forward this notion of mine that I kind of wonder myself, like even a draw wouldn't, like I can't, I just can't understand that maybe a draw would save their skins at the end of the day. But it is what it is. It is the style that some teams choose to kind of nick points of big opposition. I totally understand that. But this is something interesting, yeah. So Getafe is managed by Quique Sanchez Flores, hits his third stint at the club. He has brought on some sort of a revival in the league performances. Ines Unal has been in wonderful form. We managed to keep him quiet. Um, the only major chance they had probably was through Borja Mayoral. Funnily enough, Borja Mayoral, as you all know, has played for us, but there were a few in the Getafe squad that actually represented us in one way or the other. David Soria used to play in the youth team. Obviously, Latasa came on towards the latter stages of the game. He had a couple of nice little headers that didn't test Lunin much. Uh, but the thing that I was actually getting to was Getafe, although they seemed like they were, very impressive at frustrating us tonight. I'll read out some stats here. So, since the beginning of this season's La Liga, Valencia have hit them for 5, right? Valladolid has hit them for 3, okay? And we could manage just 1. And that is sincerely worrying signs. I mean, our talismanic striker, our captain, like, is missing. Yeah. I totally understand that it was a precautionary measure to kind of leave him out of the lineup. I get it. But this side that we fielded out today, no matter how anti-football the opposition was in Getafe, we should be scoring way more goals. Don't you think, Yadu? Like, what do you think? We should be scoring far more goals
I
than
expected a lot more goals if that's what you're getting at. I thought that we would be winning this 4-1. That was my prediction going into the game. I was not confident on our ability of keeping a clean sheet, but I was confident that the youngsters would score, would step up. The moment that I saw that Benzema was not announced in the lineup, I thought, okay, they're resting him ahead of El Clasico, one of the bigger games coming up, one of the season, defining games, given the form that Real Madrid and Barcelona are currently in. Um, but yeah, I thought there would be more goals, and it is seriously concerning. We went up against a team that sat back and defended with their whole lives, as Farouk said in the beginning. There were eight players constantly in their back line at one point or the other. But it's still, we are able to get through teams like that with short passes or with crosses that usually find their mark. And the fact that we haven't been able to do it today is really worrying. It's also concerning that we can't convert any of the set pieces that we get. It's the keeper can be having a good game and we end up with corners, but as of our recent form, the corners come to nothing, as I'm pretty sure you all would agree. It is what it is, but with Militao, yeah, he made
yeah.
me eat my words
You,
today.
you, you basically you basically said we don't score enough
We
corners, but
never score enough corners, and
today was an
that was
exception.
my
Today
one
was an
takeaway.
exception.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah,
one
today was an
takeaway.
exception.
The one thing I was happy about was scoring a corner, but then we also had so many corners, like in the past game, in today's game.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
If we were any better, we would still be 4-0 up. Just considering
Mm.
the corners
I
alone.
mean, there was a couple of good Rodrigo. attempts, like a brilliant header that David Soria somehow managed to hang on to. Brilliant save by him. But yeah, man, like most of the shots, most of the chances were like very hopeful attempts from far, far away. Farooq, should Carlo revoke Valverde's shooting license, man? Like, is it time?
Shoot and inshallah, right?
Shoot and inshallah, bro.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like that's the thing. Like one day it's gonna go in. So I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. But you're
One
totally right,
day.
man. Like I mean, the I mean, to be honest, like the some of the shots are even outrageous. To be honest, like I mean, even attempting them itself in itself is outrageous. To be honest, but I mean, I'll just go back and touch on the comment you made to before you came to me about the fact that Valencia hit them for 5. You said or 4. I'm not sure, and
Five, five,
Rayo
five.
hit them. Yeah, and Rayo hit them for 3. But the point now becomes this: like Valencia are a team in transition. Gattuso just came on. And Rayo are relegation fodder, with all due
Not
respect to
Rayo,
them.
Valladolid. Valladolid.
Sorry, Real Valladolid. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Real Valladolid are relegation fodder, to be honest. So the point now becomes this, like, these are the teams that Getafe are expecting to get team points from. And I can guarantee you, like, when the season starts out, Kike Sanchez actually has just crossed off Real Madrid and Barcelona from the list and just, okay, let's go there and just show up and whatever happens, happens. You know? So that's why, like, at this game, he doesn't have to play anything. Because the point is, if he plays expansive football against Real, I can
Yeah.
guarantee you, Yadus 4-1 will just even be, in the rear mirror. It's going to be like more of a 8-2 kind of game. It's going to be basketball or volleyball or whatever it is. So that's why, like, I think the comparison with Valencia and Valladolid might not be, quite, how will I say, might not be something you should compare it. But, about the stuff is that one thing that's happening is that, you rightly pointed about, the Rodrigo chance with the header, which was a very, very good save from Soria, actually. If you could see, like, it was, intricate play, Modric, Carvajal, and Valverde, and then space opened up, and it was a very, very good cross from Fede, into Rodrigo with a very equally very good header, and it was a fantastic save. So I'm just trying to say, like, I don't know why, but like this pattern of passes, we need to, I don't know, work on them more. We need to repeat them more. We need to achieve, because that shows that we can, even if the teams, pack the balls with 8 players, 9 players, if we can have, that intricate passes, an overload on the right side, just switch to the left side, those chances can come, you understand? But the point is that those patterns of play were not repeated very often in the game. So I
Hmm.
think that's something that we need to, work on
Carvajal,
more or
Carvajal is very efficient in what you said about overloading a side or like overlapping and kind of, like pinning their fullbacks and their wingers back at
yeah.
the same time. But like, let's get on to the team and kind of talk about a few people that I want to talk about and address today. Starting off with Lunin, I don't think there is much to add. Whatever shots came his way, he made the best of it. Basically, um, the few times he was called into action, he was solid. Lunin is a solid keeper. I'll keep reiterating it. He is a very, very solid keeper, very dependable, and I think our uh, our management should be trying their best to keep this guy at the club. Kind of guaranteeing him more minutes and kind of reassuring him that no matter what, he'll be our main keeper all throughout every other competition except La Liga and Champions League. So he was good. He was good. If you guys have anything else to add about Lunin, you free to go ahead. If not, let's move on to Alaba, right?
I mean, Lunin has done what Courtois couldn't do, right? He kept a clean sheet in La Liga, and Courtois hasn't done that this season. So, I
Yeah,
mean, props to the man.
Lunin better.
Thibaut might be watching this. Thibaut might be watching this and sipping on some very costly pina colada and cursing us, Farooq. So
I mean,
don't.
that's the point, man. I want him to cuss me, man. You see, like you saw in the Champions League final, man. The man was out for the English media, man, and he was like, "Thou shalt not pass." He was like Gandalf, and he was like, "You shall not pass," and no one passed, man.
Well, I hope he doesn't have the same energy he had for the English media for you. That's the only thing.
But
Is Javier's video getting blurry? Something is happening with his video, right?
yeah, there's some
It goes
sort
and
of
comes. It goes and comes. Yeah,
yeah,
I think it's the network. Like, yeah, it's the network. It's the
yeah.
Like
connection.
if he just turns off his camera and turns it back on, I think it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine now. It's fine now.
It's fine now. Yeah, yeah, it's
But
fine.
Sunit, just adding to the previous point. Yeah, Lunin's a good shortstopper, much better than what I gave him credit for. So yeah, I'm
Hmm.
really happy with that.
Hmm. Well, um, yeah, Lunin is pretty straightforward. Alaba, yeah. So there's this notion that Alaba somehow is. This is a perception. Even I am very much guilty of kind of having in myself, yeah, that Mendy is a very solid left back, right? Like he is a guy. If you ask him to kind of hold the fort down on the left hand side, he'll do that for years. I think Mendy is yet to hit his peak. He's just 26 or 27, so I'm very much confident that there is levels to his game that'll be added, as he matures on in his journey with us. But Alaba is a seasoned veteran of the game. Yeah, like he won like 10 or 11 leagues in a row, multiple Champions League winner with Bayern. He is essentially European royalty. Yeah, but this perception that Alaba can suddenly fix Vini's workload on the left hand side is a bit, in my opinion. At least that's what it pointed towards tonight. Um, I completely understand the fact that he is much more involved in the build-up play. He has much more intelligence with how he manages to find his teammates in the final third. Uh, Much more nifty. All that, I get it. But it's still as ineffective as Mendy, or even worse. Like, what do you guys think? Javier, like, Alaba is a better left back when we're attacking. Like, is it a myth, or you know, or is there like serious questions that needs to be answered regarding whether Alaba is the attacking left back that we need?
I think then the short answer is yes. Lava is or left back, but let me explain this concept a little further. I think Alaba is gonna burn out so much faster than we expect. I said it in the last, I think, 2 or 3 games. Alaba is the only defender that plays all the games. As a
Yeah.
center back or as a left back. I don't like that. If you said that maybe Bini it doesn't help to recover the ball, yeah, because it's against Getafe. Once again, Bini shouldn't defend like anything. Rodrigo
Mm,
neither. Yeah, should be enough with our 4 defenders plus Chouameni plus maybe Fede. Should be more than enough. Because if they're defending with 8, they will attack it with 5
mm,
in the most advanced
yeah.
position.
Mm,
So this is the kind of games that we need to understand and rotate. If this goes to Nacho and or maybe someone from Castilla, because I don't see the reason why Alaba plays 90 minutes. If you understand this kind of games, I said we talked it on the podcast sometimes before. We only play one half. For the first 5 or 6 games, we play the second half, and we
yeah.
end up the game uh, like an avalanche. Like
Mm, mm,
we eradicate the other side, and
yeah.
this I think against Osasuna, Shakhtar, and today we only play the first half. But the
Mm,
worst thing that could happen to us today was a score so early
mm,
because we don't play one half.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
play 5 minutes, and and that will be enough. Today was enough. So the rest of the 85 minutes, they go to sleep and they play like side to side passes, and maybe a few. This is the first game that I saw in the Fede Valverde's career as a Real Madrid player that he was boring. You know,
That's actually true.
Fede
Yeah.
was boring today, and that's a news for me because he was like, I
Can't
don't
be
want to do.
bothered, you know. Yeah, can't be bothered to do the Fede Valverde stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
I agree with
And
that,
also
Javier.
Chouameni and Camavinga seems like, yeah, I just want to go to watch House of Dragons, just send the list.
Chamini tried something different today. He nearly took a man's head off with a long range effort. The man was lying down after one of his shots. But yeah, uh, coming back, Sunay, to your question about, do you mind if I jump in here, Javier? I just want to answer his
Oh,
question
yeah.
about Alaba. So with Alaba, one of the reasons that he left Bayern for Real Madrid was to get more attacking chances. So the man wanted to play midfield quite with passion. And in Real Madrid, at least in today's game, it appeared as if he's trying to go back to his roots of playing in the midfield, or at least trying to. He was up ahead a lot of the time, which I respect him for. It's a good attacking threat. Is it efficient enough? That's a different question altogether. But yeah, back to you, Sunaid.
I've always felt like, he kind of tries to do too much, whereas Mendy is very methodical and very on the surface. Alaba tries to do too much, in my opinion. Well, Javier made a very, very valid point that he's been playing basically, all the games, um, so far this season, and this sort of lack of rest is going to come back to haunt us. We shouldn't be going through this again, but we have to. We have been kind of very keen on pointing out the fact that Ancelotti has been very efficient with how he has kind of managed our squad rotation this season. But Alaba has completely crossed my mind. Like he basically, like what Javier said, starts out wide or at centre back, and it's either Militao or Rudiger, getting minutes off. It might be a reason. It might be a reason. It could be a reason. But I always seem like Alaba being an attacking left back, especially against teams that sit deep, isn't working out that well like we expected. Or you never know. Um, Getafe
But
might have done a better job of, kind of hitting it
Tony,
out. Go on, Harry.
imagine this. Imagine this scenario. Right? Today, Alaba gets an injury, and you have to play next week Barcelona with Rudiger and Militao. And we said it in, I think, it almost the shows that I've been that we cannot play with Alaba there. Sorry, with Militao and Rudiger.
Hmm.
This is the kind of
Okay.
game that get people injured. I don't want to see Alaba like any second for any reason in the Champions League midweek game. He needs to rest. And if we need to play with someone from Real Madrid Castilla, it's okay.
It should be Nacho. It should be Nacho, man. Come on, like even we
Yeah,
are restless.
but Nacho, I think Nacho is gonna start in the center defensive mid. Like I would think Rudiger and Nacho, and maybe Lucas Vasquez, and maybe like I don't know someone like
Ferland Mendy. It should be Ferland Mendy. Will be Mendy.
I don't know, man. I think we need to start with Mendy on the left side against Barcelona.
Mm.
Because he needs to contain whoever Xavi puts.
Rafinha, yeah. But the thing is, like we can't kind of take it very easy. We need to somehow get the 3 points and like make the qualification certified. I mean,
Yeah, but
nothing.
if you ask me, the gamble against we play against Shakhtar, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Shakhtar in Poland against Barcelona. There's no way. I would rather throw away those 3 points because we are really so much ahead of it, and we need to certify the 3 points against Barcelona. It's not the same for Barcelona. Barcelona needs to outplay themselves to win against Inter. It's not
yeah.
the same. If we start with 11 and players new. That's a
Mm,
good. This is the kind of game we need. You know,
mm.
today wasn't the opportunity. I think the first two changes, Asensio and Nacho, they come back in the 75 minute. Like, come on, Ancelotti.
It
There's
should
no
be
way.
much more earlier, much more earlier.
Yeah,
Like
60 minutes, 50 minutes, half time. You know,
I totally
Luka
agree.
Modric gets 37 and he plays the whole game. And we
Carlo,
need him. And we need
Car-
him against Barcelona.
mm. Carlo's very passive in his substitutions. Like it's not a new thing. Javier, like he has always been very passive,
Yeah, I was just gonna
unless
say
it's a
it's
Champions League must win. Second leg. Backs against the walls, balls against the walls kind of situation. But I
that's also
think,
another
I
thing.
think,
That's also another thing, right? I mean, I have the unpopular opinion that some of our starters today should have come on as subs, and some of our subs should have been starters instead. You see Kamavinga, um, you see the impact that Nacho would have had. So it should have been the other way around, but the team selection is what it is, you know.
well, we can't take the foot off the gas even in La Liga. Like we needed the 3 points. Probably it was just being safe rather than sorry and not like regretting like if things would have gone. Like imagine Getafe scoring first. It is game over. That's it. That's it. It is done. So basically, it would have been a decision to kind of you know solidify our position also in the league leading up to the Clasico. But yeah, moving on from Alaba. Alaba needs rest. That is the bottom line, I guess. Like hopefully. Um, Against another similar opposition who sits back, we might see an Alaba who finds much more joy, more than what he could today. But talking about centre backs, Rudiger was immense. I mean, I don't know what you guys felt about him. Um, there were people who were questioning his leadership qualities and stuff, but this is not the match to kind of ascertain his minerals. In the leadership segment, but he was still very solid. It was nothing out of the ordinary, nothing extraordinary. He was very efficient. But Militao, we have always been crying out for this guy to find the target and like make something out of his brilliant positioning and his immense leap, that he always manages to find from set pieces and corners and stuff. But yeah, man, his positioning is what led to the goal. He basically moves around his marker and moves ahead, near post to actually glance it beside the keeper. I mean, it was a Hollywood goal, if you could call it that. I was very impressed. Farouk, can we go back on the Militao, you know, heading criticism we used to, pound on him back in the day?
I mean, not yet, man, not yet. But I mean, today is a good day, to be honest, because like I think for me personally, the pairing of Rudiger and Militao today, more than did enough against Sport Nacional and Borja Mayoral, because we know in the game they had no chance. The only chance was for Mayoral. If I'm wrong, you guys just correct me. The only chance was for Mayoral, and Mayoral was for sure offside on that chance as well. If it had gone in, it would have been raised. It would have been cancelled off. So I think coming up against two physical attackers and coming out to it with flying colors with a clean sheet, for me it's even much more than the goal that Militao scored. And like as you said, like to your question, like should we go back on our criticism of both he and Rudiger's and Alaba's lack of hitting of the target from the aerial balls and all that? I would say not yet, man. Like we still have a long way to go, to be honest, because I think on the preview, or yeah, I think was it on the preview or the post game of Shakhtar, we were complaining about the fact that we literally cannot score corners even if our life dependent on it. And once upon a time, we were the guys who were just every set piece was like a penalty, man. Like I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we were once upon a time.
It
So
used to, there used to be a time where, like I would basically pray for not open goals, but to be granted a set piece. I know for
exactly,
Sergio
exactly,
Ramos is going to be on the end of it. So,
exactly. I mean, it wasn't just only Ramos, man. Like it was, Casemiro, it was Varane, it was Cristiano. Like we had people who could, hit the targets all around. So yeah, and I mean, credit also to the delivery from
Modric
Modric on that
comes
goal
back
as well.
in, has the armband. The way he even celebrated the goal, man. This guy
Yeah,
exudes Madridismo,
Guys,
yeah.
basically. He is a different breed.
guys,
Don't have.
Eder Militao, welcome to the 22-23 season. You finally arrived.
Fucking finally, bro. Exactly.
This is the Militao.
Yeah.
This is the Militao what we love. This is the Militao of the great defense at the end of the last season. Partnership with Alaba was great. And we said it, Militao was the struggling one, you know? Finally, instead of the goal was great, don't get me wrong. But today, I think like he was a wall. There's no
Yes.
way past
Very
Militao.
good. It was very good,
Yeah.
very good. Like I
So,
remember, like there was a big instance where they got confused, like how to deal with a ball, and it was Militao who took the initiative. Alaba is always very hesitant to, clear the
To
ball or
engage,
like,
actually. To engage.
yeah,
Militao has
he
no
came out and
guards
stepped in
about
and
him.
engaged and cleared the
Yeah.
ball.
Plus, his interceptions were really amazing today. He had that presence of mind to just step in to the
Mm.
difficult positions, get into those, give them hell. Good game from Militao. I mean, the man of the match, completely deserved. Absolutely
Mm.
amazing. Yeah, thanks Javier for pointing
Definitely.
that out. Yeah.
Also, another footnote for the Militao masterclass tonight. This was his 100th appearance in all comps for Real Madrid. What a way to come up and mark your 100th appearance, for us. And with a match-winning goal, I guess you couldn't ask for more. But you could ask for more in this regard, right? In 100 appearances, he has barely 3 league goals, which
He's
is
a defender,
very
man. Just lay off him on the
Yeah.
goal front. I mean, he should be
because
an aerial threat.
honestly,
Yes, he's getting there. Yes. Uh,
because the thing is, honestly, if he is a Real Madrid centre back, he should be scoring way more goals. I'm not saying he should be scoring 20 goals a season or even 10 goals a season. I'm speaking strictly 5 goals a season. We need 5 goals from our centre backs if possible. That like it
I'm
all
willing.
adds up to kind of
I'm
alleviating the pressure of the
Here's
front
something,
line.
Sunit. I'm willing to bet you $5 that Militao ends this season on 5 goals. On 5 goals, I'm willing. And anybody in the chat, anybody in the comments, anybody listening, you can take me up as well. Just write it right now. I'm willing to bet you that Militao scores 5 goals by the end of the season.
I don't know why you're being so optimistic.
He will. He will.
This is just an anomaly,
Okay,
and
so we're gonna add your new socials to description below. If you just wanna,
No,
take
no,
him
no,
up on
no,
the
no,
bet.
no. I take care of.
I hope a
I
thousand viewers will take you up on that bet, man. So you will be in $5,000 of worth of bet
Yeah, yeah,
come the end
yeah.
of the
I mean,
season.
I manage Let's Be Real 1902 socials. So just write to me there if you want your money. Just follow us there. Just write to us there. Tweet at me. Tweet at us on Twitter. Like do your stuff, man. Earn your $5. I'm willing to bet you $5.
Okay,
well,
man.
I leave it up to the audience and you have to figure it out.
Now I'm gonna
I'm
create a lot of bot accounts and I'm just gonna hit you guys up and just bet $5 around 100 times, so I can get $500 free cash. Because the point is, to be honest, like we're kind of like spoiled brats in the sense that we've been blessed with goal scoring center backs. But to be honest, like when you check, when you look at the spectrum, like how many center backs score 5 goals a season, man? Like that's
I
a
mean,
very huge
so,
ask,
so
to be honest.
I'm telling you, we are a club of high standards. We are a club of standards that are hard to match. We have done stuff that is unprecedented. So I'm only expecting what I've seen before. It is unfair on
But,
Militao, but I'm telling
but
you,
you're comparing Militao with Ramos. The
no,
only
no, no, no. There's no way I can compare him to a little demigod, in Ramos. I'm just telling you, 5 goals a season goes a long way. I'm talking all comps, all comps, all
but
comps,
but
5 goals.
but
When
I don't think any of the center backs in the world. I think in Van Dijk or something in the Laporte, something like that. They don't score 5 goals a season.
but they don't need to score 5 goals this season. You
Neither
see
should
in that.
Neither
Militao.
should Militao. In an ideal world, neither should Militao.
If
But
Vini scores 20, Karim scores 30,
In
Rodrigo
an
scores
ideal world,
20.
but you know how much we lack goals, right? Like I'm being maybe a bit harsh, but I'm just telling you what I feel. This is just my opinion, right? Like we struggle for goals, and if it comes from
Not this
defenders,
season, Sonny. This is our first one goal scoring game of this season. Maybe in the Zidane, uh, the last championship of Zidane, we struggled and we win 1-0 or 2-1 or something like
Osasuna
that.
was a draw, 1-1. You forgot Osasuna, bro.
our last game,
You know,
the previous game, the one that
yeah.
ended our winning streak.
See, we have we are able to kind of navigate without Benzema and stuff. I totally get it, but I was just stating what I expected from Militao. I have high expectations of him because I like Brazil. I want Brazil to win the World Cup. I just need him to keep this rhythm going on, and he can achieve so much more. He could be the next Thiago Silva. So this is what I
Well,
expect from Militao.
Sonny,
Yeah.
Militao
No.
scores today, right?
Mhm.
Alaba scores in the first game
Wasn't
against
it?
Almeria, and Rudiger also scores already. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
three
yeah.
of our center
It's
backs.
good. It's good. It's so far, so good. So far, so good.
We're only
We
missing Nacho
Things are
and
looking
Vallejo.
up. Things are looking up. See, that's what I'm saying.
Vallejo, nah, man. Now
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet $5 Vallejo, but he's not gonna score all season.
Nacho's gonna score. Nacho's gonna score for
Yeah,
sure.
Nacho is gonna score, but
Nacho
Vallejo's not
always
gonna score,
scores.
man.
But
Yeah,
let's get
exactly.
to the we are kind of running over time. But let's get to Danny Carvajal and how efficient he was tonight. He was exceptional. I felt like he was one of our brightest players today. Um, he's a player who has been criticized by everybody, including us. Um, he doesn't have the pace that he used to have, but he's much more mature.
He's very
Um,
intelligent.
the very intelligent.
Very
Like he
intelligent
knows
player.
he is, in my opinion, one of the most well-rounded, fullbacks that I've seen in my lifetime. His anticipation of danger, his positional awareness is second to none. And his relationship with Valverde is always growing, and I just hope he keeps this up. If you guys have anything else to add on Danny, feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, the whipped in crosses that I saw today. Mwah, chef's kiss, man. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I just
So,
had to say it.
one thing you have to pinpoint here is that, which Sunil actually pointed out, is that his relationship with Fede Valverde is getting better and better as the game goes on. So that's the thing. Earlier, like we were discussing about David Alaba and Vini and the left wing and Ferland Mendy. Like no
Yeah.
matter how limited Ferland Mendy is, he has played continuously with Vinicius Junior. So there's an understanding there that has been established. You understand? However, for David Alaba, like with all his experience and everything, whether he likes it or not, in these
Mm.
games where you play against 8 people at the back, 10 people at the back, that understanding comes to the fore. Because then, even without thinking, you naturally know what the person behind you, what the person ahead you is gonna do. So I think that continuity is key for the right wing. To be honest, in my opinion, the relationship between Carvajal and Fede Valverde, that's I think what's lacking a lot between David Alaba and Vinicius Junior. In my opinion, that's one of the stark differences there. And to be
Mm.
honest, like I think this season, Carvajal has stepped up a lot. Like I think if you guys could recall, his start last season was really really terrible. I mean, it wasn't until the latter stage, at least the second leg against Paris,
He was also
that
struggling.
really.
He was also struggling with like
Injuries, yeah.
frustrating injuries.
Yeah, that's also a valid point. That's a valid point. But I feel like his start to the season this year has been much more better, and as Yedu pointed out, with the crossing and all that. So yeah, uh, big ups to him, to be honest. And this game was also another very bright game from him as well.
Moving on to the midfield, yeah, Chouameni, I think he was exceptional today.
Was he
He had a stint.
exceptional, really?
He was in my opinion, at least he was. He anticipated all the dangers that he could anticipate. Most of the time, his defensive work rate is the reason our midfield kind of manages to regain the ball and retain it. I don't think Kamavinga does anywhere near as much, especially when he starts. It's basically Chouameni doing all the defensive work. Um, he's the kind of the chess piece that basically holds down the entire midfield, in my opinion. Ever since he came on, he had a couple of stinkers, especially I remember against Osasuna. He had a terrible game, but he kind of redeemed himself tonight. Like that's just my opinion. Like, what did you guys think?
See, that's where I disagree. I didn't think that he had an exceptional game. He had an average game, which was kind of boosted by the fact that he dropped back a lot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that saw him more on the ball than say Kamavinga. Kamavinga got at least tried to get into some attacking positions to facilitate it. And yeah,
Very good point. I'll come
Choumeni,
back to you. But
Choumeni had some long range efforts, true, but some of it I felt that
I'm not talking about you.
some of it was lacking. At least some, I mean, some aspects were lacking from his game, which is why I just don't agree with you saying that he had an exceptional game. Yeah, he had an average game, run of the mill for him at this point.
Well, we all see football differently, so we can just agree to disagree.
Oh,
It,
absolutely.
it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it is just two different POVs. But anything else, people, for Chouameni? Happy with the performance? Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think I'm leaning forward to agree with Jadu, because it's just a game for Tchouaméni, you know, nothing good, nothing bad, just a game.
Mm,
Same, I would say almost the same as Camavinga.
mm.
Nothing good, nothing bad.
Kamavinga was poor, very poor. I'm one of his biggest admirers on our podcast, and I was very disappointed. Very disappointed.
I'm not that sure. I wouldn't say like maybe Tchouaméni is a seven and today Camavinga was a six.
For me,
Nothing.
Kamavinga was a four. I'll be honest.
Oh no, the
That's
four
too
would be
harsh,
he
man.
meant
I was
he make a mistake that leads to a goal
Yeah.
and he make a foul or something like that. No, he was just not there, but no one was there.
See, let me
I,
ask you guys something. Yeah, like whenever I watch Kamavinga start games, he has this eagerness to be a midfielder like Gerrard, right? Who is on the end of balls, yeah, who's on the end of through balls. Basically, the final guy in the attacking third, apart from the forwards. I don't want him there. Nobody wants to see Kamavinga inside the box attacking the ball. He is one of our worst shooters in the team. He doesn't have the shooting. He doesn't have
Man, have
good
you
enough
watched
shooting.
his left foot?
It is good. It is good. I'm not saying that it is trash, but I'm telling you, he is far less of a goal threat than either Modric or even Chouameni. I must admit. And
Yeah, but do you
I,
compare him with a master of the game like
obviously, but
Modric?
I'm just honestly addressing the fact that this guy is making runs into the attacking third, basically in and around the box, and expecting teammates to provide him the final ball, which he doesn't get. So I'm asking you, if he doesn't get it, his teammates clearly knows his strengths and weaknesses, and they don't want him to be the guy shooting the ball. So why does he always push up so much? Is it a tactical tweak that Carlo basically asks him to be, in the opposition third much more frequently, or is it just naivety? Because I honestly think it's just naivety. And this kind of positional deficiency is what keeps him back and doesn't let Carlo, give him as many starts as maybe we must have expected Kamavinga to have in this first phase of the season. I want to, honestly ask you guys this, start with Farouk. You have been Kamavinga's, I don't
I
know
would
what to
say,
call
like,
it,
I mean, the thing is that,
admirer,
so the
anti-admirer.
thing is, actually, so the thing is, with Kamavinga is like last season, he made the push to become, an integral part of the team. Not, I mean, of the squad, rather, I would say, not the team up per se. So right now, like it's kind of like the time to step up and moving from that being an integral squad member to an integral first teamer. So like, I mean, it's a huge ask for him as well, because he's not used to he's used to coming in short bursts, and now you're asking him to start for the whole 90 minutes. It will take a bit of time for him to like push that, because I think even before we start recording, like we talked about the fact that like this season he hasn't really pushed that much, except when he comes in as a sub. So I mean, it's gonna take a bit of a time for him to shed that tag of being a super sub to being a full-time starter as well. And also it's a midfield which is also changing as well. Last year he was
Yeah.
playing with Casemiro and so on and so forth. Now he has to play with Tchouaméni, although he knows how to play with Tchouaméni from the national team as
Chouameni
well.
is the only guy who looks for Kamavinga. Go watch and rewatch the game. Go and rewatch the game. You will notice that Kamavinga is always expecting him to get the ball in the attacking third, and Chouameni is basically like his mate. They are basically the same age. He is the only guy who sees him. Oh well, Kamavinga is there. Let me pass it to my homie.
3 years
That
older.
is the only time when he gets the ball. So that's what I'm telling you. It is not detriment to how we play, right? He's not a detriment or doesn't
Here's
spoil chances or anything.
here's a counterpoint. Whenever, at least today, whenever Kamavinga was playing, he had at least two people from the other team marking him. And the moment he got the ball, or he tried to cut through the team, cut through the opposition, and get to those positions where you would consider him to be an attacking threat. It just never happened for him. I mean, he committed to it. There's no question that he didn't commit to it going forward to the attack, to being the attacker. I mean, the man got hit in the nuts at like 48 minutes by a through ball. So it's no question if he committed. It's a different question altogether. It's one of those games. It's one of
See, it is
those
not the
games.
application. It is not the application that I'm talking about. See, you are entirely not getting the point that I'm trying to make. If you guys go back and watch our first game against Inter last season, he and Rodrigo combined for the match winner, and Rodrigo was right there, right outside the box on the left hand side. He was the one who provided the cross to Rodrigo to net the winner. So that is not the point. When it is clearly not going, well for him,
It's
he
one of
should
those
have.
tactical setups. It's one of those tactical setups where
I don't think so.
against teams that overload the back, maybe he's
I,
not
I
used to playing it. So
I don't think it is a tactical tweak. Like I just think it's just naivety. Probably that's just my opinion. Like probably Carlo, like you insisted, like would have been asking him to kind of like suffocate them, without
I would
letting
think
them.
so because he draws away the midfield. He draws away the opposition midfield enough so that Chaumini long ball or a Fede Valverde run can break through the lines. Perhaps that's what Carlo meant from today's game, which in turn made him look worse than how he played. But yeah, I still think it's one of those things that Carlo asked him to specifically commit to, the way he was being bossed around in
I
the
was very
midfield.
disappointed. I was very disappointed. I expected him to be the guy that let our midfield in terms of youngsters, but
Funny.
some say it's because of the number. That is because he inherited the number 12. I don't know about that. Some voodoo associated with number 12 and all
I
that.
think so. I mean,
Yeah,
the thing that I agree with you with Camavinga. I think he's the youngest member in our
he's a
squad.
young. Yeah.
So last season, as Farouk said, whenever he comes to the game, he has nothing to prove. He
Mm.
was the his first season, and when Carlo put him, it was kind of like you do you
Yeah.
and play whatever suits you.
Mm.
But now when he starts, he's replacing someone.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Today he was replacing Cross, and maybe in
Mm.
his mind he needs to play like Cross.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
he's not Cross. He's not Modric. He's not anyone. He's Camavinga. And as we said earlier, the partnership between Fede, Modric, and Valverde, it's there because they always they always play in the right side. But in the left side,
Mm.
today was Bini, Alaba,
Alaba, Kamanga.
and Camavinga. So
Mm.
for all of them, they were new.
Mm.
They don't
Yeah.
know when to go back. You know, I think we need to understand that the hype of Camavinga it's real because he's a very good player, but he's still 19 and he needs to play. So this game was he was bad. I will say bad. For me, it was not bad, but I agree with you for the sake of the
For the
for the
sake of
sake
it,
of the
no, no,
argument.
no, no, no.
But
I don't want any,
he was bad,
any.
but he knows how to be good.
I don't want any pity agreements, right? See, honestly,
See,
yeah,
people
you,
No,
disagree
but
with you, Sunil.
but if I have to lean to bad or good, I will say today he was bad. If I have to
Mhm.
lean,
Yeah.
so in that regard, he needs to understand that his place in this team is like something like no, I'm not the next Kroos, I'm not the next Modric. Something in the same vibe that Fede and Chouamini already knows. You know, Chouamini is not the next Casemiro. Chouamini is Chouamini, and Fede is the next Fede, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Camavinga needs to understand that. That he's
It
going
might
to
be.
be if he wants to be in the first team, he needs to understand that he's not gonna replace anyone. He needs to be himself because that's the only reason that Real Madrid bought him, because
Yeah.
they saw in him something other than no one else has. He's still very young. I think Vini was in his first season at 19. Rodrigo wasn't getting the first team games at 19. So just give
This
them
is
time.
this is a
He
big
needs to
step up
play.
for
And
him. Like I completely agree. This is a very big step up, and like you rightly pointed out, like probably the fact that him kind of wanting to replicate Cruz or having that pressure on your shoulder that you are coming in for, Cruz is always gonna be too big of a shoe to fill. But hopefully he'll grow into it. He'll grow into it. He's one of the players I like the most. So I have like all this frustration stems from high expectations I have of these young players. Like they have to go on to be one of the best. That's what I expect of them. But not a good day at the office for Kamavinga. But I don't think there's much to touch upon the attackers. Valverde, he had a few bright runs, a few good link ups, but very wasteful with his shots. Apart from one which kind of tested Soria, but I think it was a comfortable save in the end. The like we discussed with Farouk, probably the long shot license needs to be cut down a bit. Um, Rodrigo, in my opinion, tried his best. Had a couple of good headers. Tried dropping deep. Tried linking up the midfield and the attack as best as he could. He's not Benzema, but you can clearly see there is a prototype CF, center forward there in Rodrigo, and shame that he couldn't get on the score sheet. I just want to ask the panel this though, yeah. Was Vinicius at his best tonight? Nowhere. Nowhere
I
near.
For
mean,
the first 10 minutes he was good, but after that, no.
yeah, it just dropped off. I mean, the quality, the conversion, the
So much,
expectations from him
exactly. A
dropped off.
lot.
He switched off after the first maybe 20 minutes of the game. There was no.
There's so much expectation, so many markers
That's
on
actually
him,
true. That's actually true. He's under a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
especially from the media, especially after the whole Atletico incident. There's just too much pressure on him. And it's just, again, it's just one of those games where, yeah, one of his signature skills and signature runs would have been amazing. I mean, the ball,
He wasn't quite at the races today. I mean, it happens. It happens.
yeah,
Like
plus
Getafe is a good place for it to happen. Like like it shouldn't happen at the Clasico.
No,
That's the only thing.
here's the thing, right? I mean, he tried making some of those runs in the first 20 minutes, as we saw with the ball that went outside, which would have been a goal. That led to a penalty, which got
Penalty,
checked.
yeah.
But the penalty was overruled because the ball had gone out of play, out of the line. So that incident, the whole thing, I mean, it was a Vinicius making it. The whole thing came out of Vini making that run, making all the cutting inside, getting into the box, and finally getting fouled, unfortunately. But until that point, Vinicius was having a great game, a good game by Vinny's standards. And after that, yeah, pretty silent after that. So, yeah, nothing to remark about for me at least.
Yeah, Vinicius has a very um, silent game by his very hefty standards. But that is pretty much about it. Asensio came on, was bright. Like I don't understand the point, like
I think
leaving it so late.
Javier has something to say about Asensio coming on though.
No, no,
Here's the
no.
thing, right? For the viewers who are concerned about missing the context. So the four of us were
Okay.
watching the game together. I mean, we were on a Discord call before the live began. We were just talking. We were just watching the game, each person in their own room, in different parts of the world and all of that. And we were just watching the game and we were just commenting. And the moment Asensio came on, Javier had some well chosen words to say, which he refuses to now share with the viewers. But Javier, I'll allow you to elaborate a little bit on your thoughts about Asensio, though.
Yeah, I'm glad. And maybe you can
You're
put
basically
this.
forcing him to do it.
Yes,
You can
please.
put this next comment on a loop if you want. This is the white shirt. You know,
Yeah.
this is sacred for me. There's no reason whatsoever Asensio should be any minute of any game of any context. You know,
Mm.
no,
Show
no,
show them
no.
show them the number 11 you're wearing.
Yeah, this. Well, he wasn't the R number 11, but this kind of football players.
Come on.
Yeah, that is the kind of number
OG.
11s
This is the
we
kind
have
of
been
11s
seeing.
that worn this 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 sacred shirt. Don't get me wrong. Asensio was a good player. Asensio is a good player,
Mm,
but he's not a Real Madrid player. Not
mm,
anymore. In the same regard as Bale last season, I think if we need to save Hazard, why won't we save him? We're gonna eat.
Because clearly the people have no confidence in Hazard. Javier, like I
I
don't know
don't
what
care.
more.
I don't care if you want to sell him. Put him on a pitch. You
He's not
know,
going to do
Asensio is
anything.
gonna go for
Asensio does something, in my opinion. Asensio does something.
what? And leaves me. He scores like 2 goals, incredible goals, FIFA goals.
Exactly,
But he
exactly. Here's the
doesn't.
thing, right? Asensio redeems his season by scoring 2 screamers per season, and that's it.
But
But
but let me tell you, bro. I'll tell you, I'll take that any day compared to Hazard's little ass takes here and there.
Ah,
you know,
no. The
Honestly,
disrespect.
honestly, Hazard was a good player. He was one of the best wingers in the world, but not anymore. You guys need a reality check. Reality check. Like we were hyping the Celtic performance. I was on here praising this guy's ass. But clearly, the hierarchy, the management knows that Hazard is gonna not gonna do anything on. That's why they don't even send him on for a game like Getafe, where they clearly know he's gonna find space. They're clearly sitting back. He can be the kind of the inside forward, be the second striker or the cam or whatever you want him to be, and dictate the play. But clearly, they don't
It could
fancy
also
him.
be it could also be just because Hazard is so injury prone that sending him into Getafe, give him 10 seconds to get fouled and his season's over.
Saving him for what, bro? Saving him for what? Would you be bringing on Hazard? Imagine like a crunch tie against City, right in the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
2 minutes
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
You're
UCL
not
Nah,
bringing
final.
on
man.
Hazard. Let's
UCL
let's get
final.
it
Saving him,
right.
saving him for the annual Copa del Rey game against Funnel the Brother, or whatever
Yeah,
the name of the third division team
yeah.
is.
but even because I don't trust Hazard either, in his game.
I
As a,
trust Asensio more than
as a
Hazard. I
financial
really
point of view, the only one of those players is gonna get for free, and the other one, whether you like it or not, he has a contract. If you want to sell Hazard for, I don't know, 5 million euros, you need to put him
Oh,
and save something. You know, Asensio is going to leave. Hazard is not. So you need to put him. I don't like the idea. I don't.
Okay.
I said it in the chat. I think we need to bring back Brahim Diaz and give the free card to Asensio. That's my opinion. But
I totally get what Javier is saying. I think, Sunny, the thing I think you have to understand here is that I am on Javier's point. We're not saying that Hazard should play, but I am saying to you that the point is that Asensio doesn't bring anything to me. Hazard doesn't give me anything as well. But at least what I know is that Hazard hasn't gotten the time that Asensio has gotten. Asensio has played tons and tons and tons of games, man. And what? Two FIFA goals? What should I do with that? What's I mean,
at least
okay,
there's two
with all
goals,
due,
you know.
I can maybe my memory is a bit blurry, but tell me what FIFA goal Asensio scored won us a game this season. What FIFA goal did he score won us a game this season?
He
We
won us
already
three
1-0
games
up,
last
2-0
season.
up,
Last
3-0
season,
up.
Mallorca, Inter Milan. This season,
I'm
no.
talking about I'm talking about today now. In the game against Inter Milan, it was two wonder goals, man. Cruz scored his wonder goal, Asensio scored his wonder goal. That's the thing. Forget about last season. I'm talking to you about right now. We have two fit players, right? Asensio and Hazard. Okay. What game changing performances Asensio giving me? Zero. What game changing performances Hazard giving me? Zero. You get the point. I'm not saying to you that Hazard deserves something. No. I know Hazard is done and dusted.
One
Asensio
second.
also is done and dusted.
Give me 1 second. So I've heard
Yes,
there's a
sir.
poll thing for YouTube, right? Like, can you guys figure that out and put up a poll? Who would you prefer bringing on, Hazard or Asensio, in the poll? Can you do that? I've seen people do it. I think
Yeah,
there
I'm
is a
doing
way to
it right
do it.
now. I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
it will be
Right.
a massive hazard because Farouk is right.
Let's
And
see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's ask the people in the chat and the people listening in afterwards.
I don't know how many games does Hazard after the injury starts. Not more than 10.
Well, it's basically hopeless, both of them. Like, it's
Yeah,
basically
yeah, yeah.
picking.
Don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for Vini and Rodrigo, I would be crying because we don't have wingers. But we have both of the best Brazilian young talent and two of the best wingers in the world. But if you say
Honestly, this
you
spoils my
can,
mood. I was in a good mood
you
until
are
we got to
in
sequence.
Sonny,
Okay,
you are in
okay.
the Titanic, and you need to save one of them. Who will you save?
Neither.
Asensio, my boy, he won us the
Neither, man.
EFL Super Cup. I will save Asensio. He has given me so many memories that I'm never going to forget. He is.
Then you're just
He
living
has,
on nostalgia, man. That's the whole point. Then, like, you're not basing your points on
yeah, yeah.
facts,
I'm
man.
a nostalgia margin. I'll admit it any day. See, I'll tell you myself that I rely on nostalgia. But in this sacred shot that you were talking about, Javier, Asensio means a lot more than Hazard.
In the white shirt, yeah, true. The YouTube
I,
poll is up and running. I mean, for people who are listening to this later or people who are watching this later, the poll is running right now and it's a 50-50. 50% of the people want Hazard and 50% of the people want Asensio, which brings me to say we should probably skip the topic because people are still divided, as are we.
We'll come back to this, next, like, hopefully the post-match of Shakhtar. We won't be doing a preview for Shakhtar. Yeah, like, since we are on it, we'll be facing Shakhtar, I guess, away in Poland, since all the stuff is going on with Ukraine and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I hope lots of people to be rested. Potentially, like Javier alluded to, Vasquez starting on wide. He'll have to keep his tabs on Mudrik. He has been on fire. We got to stop him.
Yep.
We got to stop
Yeah. Yeah.
all their attacking threats as best as possible. The guy who scored the goal, I forgot his name. We got to keep him in check. We got to make sure that we somehow manage to get the 3 points and kind of secure qualification. It is, in at least on theory, a very meaningless game, but we can't take the foot of the gas. We gotta keep this momentum running and make sure that Barca is watching. And also, side note, Barca is playing tomorrow against Celta Vigo. I'm just praying for a Celta Vigo masterclass. And
Aspas.
Iago
Aspas,
Aspas just coming in clutch. Yeah.
I'm just hoping and praying, they somehow manage to, do a number on the Barca hype man. And yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Any final thoughts, boys?
Like you
Nothing.
said, this is
Just one, I guess. Hey, you still listening? You still watching? Please subscribe. Help us get to 500 subs. We have been grinding on YouTube for the past weeks. We've been doing Feminino, we've been doing previews, we've been doing post matches. We'll also do live watch alongs if that's what you want us to do. But please help us get to 500 subs on YouTube. Thank you and have a nice day. Please take it away from me, Sunaid.
Pretty good announcement, like probably those voice acting, like companies should be hiring this guy.
Yeah, it's just for us to clip and use later. But thanks for the referral.
Probably our kids might be using phones with Yadu instead of Siri. You never know. You never know. You never know.
I
But
have no comments. I'm sorry you had to hear that.
well, subscribe to Memento Madridismo. They're official partners on the Feminino podcast, Reina's Blancas podcast. Appreciate all the love that we have gotten for it. It was a long time coming. It has been requested ever since we started this journey. So, like, it warms my heart to see that kind of appreciation for Reina's Blancas. Please keep supporting them. Their Twitter, their YouTube, everything is in the link, the description. Check out Real Madrid Committee, our partners on Instagram. They're on a brilliant fan page. Do check them out. Yeah, like I'm gonna reiterate the fact that if you like us, if you want us to keep doing this thing, please help us to get to 1K. This season, getting to 1K is the milestone that we are looking to hit. Like, share, and subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, love for all the love. Hopefully, our boys get the job done, and we have a very relaxed post-match, Shakhtar post-match before we head into the big El Clasico next Sunday. And until then, people, buenas noches, Hala Madrid.
Yeah, still undefeated in all competitions, I might also add. And Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Madrid.